back in the 80s, what was it, the election of 88, I think, when Michael Dukakis was running against George Herbert Walker Bush, they took down Dukakis with the Willie Horton ad. Lee Atwater, was behind this thing, and there was a huge racist dog whistle to it. But what's even more fascinating, that's like the obvious stuff. What's even more fascinating is that Willie Horton himself had been let out of prison because of a program that had been put into place by the governor before Dukakis, who was a Republican. And after Horton had been let out of prison on this program that Dukakis apparently didn't even know about, it came to his attention and he ended the program while he was governor. The media never reported that. They allowed the swift boating, basically, of Michael Dukakis to go on throughout the campaign. And then after he lost, these stories came out that this was a complete invention, right? That the real culprit here was the former Republican governor. Now, Dukakis didn't make it better by, when they said, if somebody had raped and murdered your wife, what would you, what are your thoughts on the death penalty? And he should have said, I would have certainly wanted to kill that guy, but, I think the rule of law is important or something like, but he never even expressed that. I certainly would have wanted. And so they successfully amplified the impact of the Willie Horton thing. Similarly, the swift boat veterans, against John Kerry. When Jerome Corsi wrote that book and found a couple of guys who had served with John Kerry who were hardcore Republicans and willing to just say anything. And they ended up swift boating John Kerry, suggesting that he had wounded himself in order to get one of his Purple Hearts, that he was really a coward. This is a guy who volunteered to go into combat in Vietnam during a time of war, and a very dubious war at that. But John Kerry got swift-boated, and then after the election was over, the media suddenly discovered that all these things that the swift-boaters had said were lies, and that John Kerry, in fact, had been a hero to the extent that any soldier in any war can be a hero. And now we're seeing this with Bowe Bergdahl. And it's they go after him. Now it turns out he didn't convert to Islam. In fact, the Taliban is saying that he persisted in observing Christmas and Easter. The reports are fairly clear now that he was tortured, that he tried to escape. He was successful in getting away for 3 days. They caught him. They put him in a box for weeks, in a steel cage. They tortured him. But, he's already been trashed. His family's getting death threats. They make heroes out of people like Cliven Bundy, who it turns out owes more than all the other 16,000 ranchers in Nevada combined who are using public lands. It's the politics of personal destruction is what Bill Clinton called it. Democrats say, we don't like your policies, here's our policies proposal. Republicans say, we don't like your policies, we're going to destroy you. And that's what they've been doing to Obama since the day he came into office, with all these wild conspiracy theories that he's not a citizen, that he messed up the oath of office, Reverend Wright, Bill Ayers, secret Muslim, he's gay, Michelle she's not proud of America, that he wants to take away your guns, the IRS, Benghazi, the VA, he wants to redistribute wealth. Remember Joe the plumber? Fast and Furious. The Affordable Care Act numbers were faked. Unemployment numbers were fake. They come up with all these stories. They basically have portrayed Obama as a terrorist. And now they're accusing him of supporting the Taliban, basically, via Bergdahl. They don't care who they destroy. You know, they'll take down a 25-year-old kid who joined the army during a time of war. I mean, you know, it's they just don't care who they destroy. They do these ad hominem attacks, and what does it do? It kicks off people like this crazy couple who may or may not have been at the Bundy Ranch and showed up in Nevada over the weekend and killed these two police officers and killed this innocent bystander in the Walmart before shouting, "Time for a revolution," or words to that effect, and killing themselves. And they're running around with the Gadsden flag. Don't tread on me. We are the Tea Party. Why aren't we calling these people terrorists? Why is there not a, you know, this goes back to, in many ways, McCarthy, the McCarthy era. You know, the politics of personal destruction by the right, by the Republicans.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And then the Democrats come along and instead of saying, no, you guys are the terrorists, instead of that, they say, well, you know, let's just make sure everybody gets unemployment insurance.